Hello there. In today's video, I would like to discuss one very important thing in which, from my experience in the past, that at least quite probably one third of you are experiencing in one way or another at some time or sometimes during your online learning. And that will be the problem of connectivity. Now, this problem of connectivity or the internet problem is quite widespread here in this country. And as opposed to the time when you were in school, now if you have experienced the online learning or the PDPR in school, the situation here is quite different. The challenges are much more. For example, in the situation when you were in school, teachers and the pupils are more or less, or rather, maybe a better word would be highly likely to stay in one geographical area. So you might have heard stories of teachers in the rural areas or areas that are not blessed with good internet connectivity, that those teachers have devised ways to overcome the problem. And one factor that helped the teachers to do so is due to their proximity with the students. But this is not the case here in UNIMAS. Well, I suppose uh, you are all scattered throughout the state, throughout Sarawak, or perhaps throughout all of this country, Malaysia, or even outside of Malaysia. So if you are experiencing internet problem and that problem persists due to where you are, the location of your house, of your home, is in such a way that you do not get good internet and you do not have the fiber optic cables or the what do you call it facilities to ensure stable connection, and you rely on Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi signal is not good, and that problem is widespread even here in Kota Samarahan. Here in campus, the internet is extremely good, but once you go out to, let's say, a place that is quite close to campus, for example, Kampong Penang. And from my experience, the 4G becomes 2G. The 4G becomes 2G. Okay, so this internet, Wi-Fi, broadband Wi-Fi is 4G here in Unimas or in Kuching, okay, where I stay. But if you go to Kampong Penang, it becomes 2G. So this problem is widespread. That's why I was telling you in the beginning of the video that my guess would be at least one third of you are experiencing this problem. So if you are experiencing this problem, lecturers cannot help you, right? And of course, not too many students of Unima stay around Kota Samarahan, you are all scattered, unlike the teachers. So that kind of thinking that lecturers must do something, right? Maybe to print out assignments, to print out materials and send those materials to students are not practical. But yet, you are required to take the online classes. And the most challenging would be to take the online exam. Online exams whereby you have to stay or be online like at least 3 hours or even more. If the exam is 3 hours, you have to be in that online kind of setting, like certainly like 15 minutes at least, okay, latest 15 minutes or even longer than that. So what do you do if you're experiencing internet problem? Now you can't expect the lecturers to help you because the lecturers simply cannot do that, because the lecturers are not like the teachers. The situation that lecturers face are not the same like the teachers are facing. It's not as simple as the lecturers print out here in Unimas the materials, the learning materials, and then go to your houses, as what has been done by some teachers to deal with the online problem or internet problem. Well, in that regard, there is one thing that you can do. You need to write a letter to tell your story in as detailed as possible, right? If you are in that situation of having persistent internet connectivity problem, my advice to you is that please write a letter, and in that letter explain in as much detail as possible about you, about yourself, where you are, and then the situation of the internet. Okay, write a letter, right? And in that letter, it can be as long as you want. In fact, it is much better to write that letter in as or to give as much detail as possible, and address the letter to your lecturers, and then particularly to your academic advisor. So I know that my suggestion will not like help you or would not solve your internet problem, simply because this is beyond the capability of the lecturers to do so. But at least in my class, if you do what I've said, to write that letter in as much detail as possible, telling your story, your situation, your problems with the internet connectivity, I will, of course, be as lenient as possible to you, right? So that is what I can do given the limitation of resources that I am experiencing, because I cannot simply do anything else. You have to remember that. So please, if you are experiencing persistent connectivity problem, do what I've told you. And at least for my classes, and hopefully for the other classes as well, that the lecturers would be considerate enough to give you leeway or slack or allowances to factor in the problems of connectivity. In that regard, I would like to wish you all the best, and uh, not to simply give up if you are having internet problem or persistent internet problems. Of course, you might have heard all these different stories last year or maybe this year, early this year, on the wonderful initiatives that some students are undertaking to deal with the internet problem. You might do so. And in your letter, please tell if you are taking such initiative, because that's that's all that we can do. Okay, so I would like to wish you all the best and see you again in another video.